Hello and welcome to the Post to Post podcast, episode 97, January 26. Regular people here, Jason, Neil.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Neil's just fresh back from a Boston trip and fresh back with a nice, nasty cold.
Yeah. I'm going to try not to give it to you.
So this is... Normally I'd say let's make it quick, but we can't because it's a podcast, so...
It's okay.
Hopefully the germs stay over there.
Yeah, my voice is getting a little better. We went out to eat yesterday, and I said, you should probably travel in a different car because that's how contagious I am.
All right, off topic. Let's give a review for St. Louis Bar and Grill.
Is this in a Canadian company or?
I don't know. They have them in Toronto. I don't know if they're in the States or not.
So it's called St. Louis Bar and Grill.
Devilishly good is their tagline.
I have never heard of them before prior to them coming to Fredericton. I
heard of them because they advertise on sports radio in Toronto.
Oh, okay. So they're pretty well known then.
Yeah.
Okay. I left a review on Google.
Did you?
Did I tell you that?
There wasn't too many reviews on Google at the time.
I left a very lengthy review.
What did you give it?
2 out of 5.
Ooh, I was thinking 3.
Yeah.
But 3 was generous.
Now that being said, we've only gone there once. And
it just opened this week.
It just opened,
so,
yeah.
Even the staff, when I was ordering something, I think the waitress asked me a question about, does it come with this? And she's like, I shouldn't be asking you. I'm like, oh, no, it's fine. Like, you guys are still figuring this out, too. So I opened the menu up and looked.
I would say that the staff was amazing. Aesthetically, it looked really good. There was lots of TVs. It was really comfortable to...
Oh, yeah, like brand new, clean, it was well done.
But the food, not great.
Yeah.
The fries were old. My chicken fingers were not great.
We ordered really simple things. Like, there was 4 of us there. Between the 4 of us, there was a poutine, 2 things of chicken strips or fingers or whatever you want to call them, and then a club sandwich. None of that takes that long really to make.
Also, we were the first people in the store.
Yeah, I think we were like the 3rd group of people in the store because we went there right as they opened.
Yeah.
So Neil pulls his phone out and he says, we've been waiting 35 minutes. And then it was another couple minutes after that and the food came.
Yeah,
so we waited about 40 minutes.
Total.
And when the food came, it wasn't piping hot. Like it seemed like it had been sitting there for a little while. So
it would be interesting to hear back from other people listening to this.
We have heard that another location was better, so maybe they're just still working out the kinks.
Yeah, if you are in the United States and they have this, please let us know what you
or even if you're in like Toronto or something.
Yeah, like Canada, let us know how you feel. Like, was our experience
tainted by the fact that it was so new and no one in there actually knew what they were doing?
Would a typical experience be better than what we experienced?
And like where they have their bar like kind of up at the front. Like a lot of restaurants, when you go in, they have like that window where the kitchen can talk through. And I even said this to you at the time.
Yeah.
They didn't have that here. So they actually have to go through this little doorway and down a hallway that leads to the kitchen. So the only way that the servers know to go look is if they go and look. Because they didn't have buzzers. They didn't have anything. So they're just walking around talking to people. Meanwhile, our food could be sitting there getting cold.
Exactly.
Which is what I think happened. But.
Yeah. No, but the good thing there, though, there's lots of TVs and lots of sports on the TVs.
Oh, yeah.
There was basketball. I think there was some...
The All-Star game was on
football.
A lot of TVs.
Yeah, there's lots of All-Star
replays of because obviously it wasn't on when we were there.
But yeah, anyways, good segue into my trip. I ate at some amazing places.
All right, so Neil was away in Boston. We told you that's why we had to have an EIHL last week.
Right. Yeah, so that's why there's no podcast last week.
He met a bunch of people fans from YouTube, fans of the podcast.
Yeah,
he ate. He got sick. He went and sat in a Tesla. So I'll let you take your trip away.
Yeah, so my work brought me down to Boston. I was meeting with Wayfair specifically. I won't tell you why or with what company, but I had a meeting with Wayfair, and I had some other things to do in Bellingham, which is just outside of Boston, about 40 minutes or so. So while I was there, I got to meet some awesome people who listen and watch the podcast. Thanks so much for coming up and saying hello. It was awesome to meet you guys, and got to talk to some real Bostonians, which was pretty cool. And I will just say in general, my experience in Boston was fantastic. Everybody was super nice. The only bit of rudeness that I saw was my Uber driver getting angry at another driver, which was just funny. It was like it didn't impact me any. It was awesome. So my experience overall was pretty great. I really enjoyed my time in Boston. The game that I went to at TD Garden was great. Boston versus Pittsburgh. Sidney Crosby scored with like 17 seconds into the game. So number 1, I got to see Sidney Crosby play, which was awesome. Number 2, got to see him score a goal.
I've gone down twice to see Pittsburgh play. Both times Crosby was hurt, and both times they lost. You go down the one time.
Boom. Boston won that game. It was a really good game. Pittsburgh sucked that entire game. They were just terrible. Boston played pretty decently. There were some fights, which was awesome.
You've seen it all.
It was
a good game.
Pasternak scored.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a really good game. So I'll post some pictures on Instagram if you'd like to go check them out. I think I already posted a couple.
Yep.
But I had seats at the very back, literally the very back. You can't get
cement wall right here.
Cement wall right behind me. The seats were comfortable, but they were pretty tight.
Yeah.
I made leg sex with the guy next to me.
So
unintentionally.
Good on the bottom, not good on the hips.
Yeah, not good on the hips. But pretty. My overall experience pretty decent in the TD Garden. They gave us all posters when we walked in. They had Chara on it, so I kept that. A lot of people, a lot of sales staff asking for me to buy 50/50. Like I could probably get asked 9 times on my way from walking in the door to my seat. So that was my only minor gripe.
What about the time to get into your seat, like from outside in and inside out when the game was over? Was it pretty decent or?
I would say it was extremely decent based on the fact that I probably had the longest walk from the opening door to the seat because I was at the very top. It took about 15 minutes, and that's because about 11 of those minutes were me stopping at the stores and looking around.
Yeah, that's good.
So I really liked that arena a lot. I thought it was pretty fantastic, and leaving didn't take very long at all.
I think they've got multiple doors and people just kind of file out.
Yeah, it was really great. It was actually way better than I thought it was going to be. But honestly, no serious complaints or even barely minor complaints about my experience at TD Garden. All the fans were great.
And you even wore a Bruins jersey.
I wore a Bruins jersey and a Bruins hat. Got to support the local team. Now, I will say, I believe my record in NHL games, Now, Dad claims that we saw Montreal lose to, this is 20 plus years ago, either Atlanta or Philadelphia. I can't remember. But I don't remember watching Montreal lose back then. I don't remember ever being to an NHL game where who I'm cheering for has lost.
Really?
I think I'm 7-0.
Wow.
He claims I'm 6-1, but
wow. You need to go to more Bruins games.
I know. Because the previous game that I saw was the Vegas versus Winnipeg playoff game from 2 years ago. Vegas won. The game before that was Toronto versus the Islanders, the last game that Tavares played in Toronto before he became a Maple Leaf. Mm-hmm. And Toronto won 7-1. Like, I just have good luck, I guess, when I go watch games. So, anyways, awesome experience. Loved Boston. Went around to some mall. Can't remember what the name of the mall was. Had a Tesla store. Had an Amazon store. Had a Wayfair store. Pretty cool to see some of those stores in there and stuff. Sat in the Tesla. Seats were super comfortable.
That was my one question I had. Yeah. Sit in the seats. Tell me how comfortable they are, and find out how they do maintenance if there's no Tesla dealer around. Yeah. Which sounds like you're boned if there is none.
Yeah. So that was great. And then I went, my work took me to Utica, New York. So that was a long drive. And there was a trade show there. And that's when I started to get really sick. But still had a decent time. I really like Utica. It's a nice little town. It kind of reminds me of Fredericton a little bit. And then came home. That was pretty much it. So quick trip, but good experience. Really happy that I met lots of people.
Yeah, that's cool.
And thank you again to everyone who came up and shook my hand and introduced yourself. And it was just really nice chatting with everyone. So yeah, hope to get back sometime. And then I came home with a sickness and
still have it.
Didn't feel like filming on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Filmed on Thursday. I don't remember filming. I filmed 2 videos. I don't remember filming them, editing them, or releasing them. Like the drugs, the sickness drugs.
Yeah, and you were going to bed at like 8 o'clock, 8:30. I was like, what?
Oh yeah, I slept 12 hours almost every single night this week.
But, when this is over, I want you to. I shouldn't be saying this in the podcast. I want you to tell me about my dream because I'm probably going to forget about it and I want to tell you about it. Remember I told you I had this dream?
Right.
We won't talk about that in the podcast.
Okay.
All right. So we good with that?
Yeah, we're good with that.
Let's get into it. Not much hockey news going on this week other than the All-Star game. The break's on.
Yeah, pretty slow week.
So a lot of stuff happened as soon as you went to Boston.
Yes.
We had a friggin' GM fired in New Jersey. We had Gerard Gallant fired, all right there in that window when you were gone. I was like, I got to make a video. So I was like, I'm going to come down here and just do a video.
Yeah, and you did a really good job.
I got heated for some reason. I don't know why.
I don't blame you.
Like, why would I care if some millionaire got fired from a job and is going to get a new job again in a couple months?
Because he's the man. That's why.
He's the man.
That's why you're pissed. That's why I'm pissed.
I just thought that he was done dirty, and this was the second time in a row he was done dirty.
I don't understand it. You made a lot of really good points in your video, and I don't want to sit here and redo the video.
The video's on YouTube if you want to see it.
You guys should go watch it if you haven't watched it. Jason did a really good job, but I agreed with everything you said in the video. I don't understand why he was fired. I think it was done unfairly. I think that he is possibly victim of his own success from his owners. They see what happened in the first year. They see what happened in the second year.
Do you think it's an owner thing too?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the owners are spoiled, rotten, and they need someone to blame, so why not blame the coach? I think this is the beginning of the end, or at least I hope it is. And I hate saying that about Vegas, because I love Vegas. I love the city. I especially love their fans. I hate saying I hope that this is the beginning of the end, but I want it to backfire, so he's taught a lesson, or whoever made the decision has taught a lesson, that this was a mistake. It was a mistake everyone surrounding him probably told him whoever it was a mistake. I can't imagine that there was multiple people thinking that this was a good decision to make.
That's what I said. I said, if this is actually the GM making the call.
I don't think it was George McPhee.
George McPhee's the president now, so it would have had to go through him too.
But I don't think that he doesn't build that team.
I don't think
with
so either.
George Gallant and then send him out the door. That doesn't make sense.
George McPhee handpicked Gerard Gallant. That's who he wanted.
Yes.
You don't take him for 2 years and then you're not. See, some of the fans in the comments were saying, the team isn't playing up to their potential and they haven't had great starts. But you could say that with almost every team in the West. That's why it's so close out there right now.
Yes, exactly. There's a 4-way tie with 57 points, I think, in the Pacific.
How many teams in the West could you say these guys could be doing better? Almost all of them. The argument you're making for firing this guy could be applied to every team out there pretty much.
The Pacific Division is garbage. The number one team in the Pacific Division would not even be in the playoffs in the Eastern Conference.
Except for the Pacific Division won the All-Star game.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Anyway, we'll get into that later. But yeah, I don't know. So anyway, that week went by. Oh, yeah, close. And then this week comes by, or this week happens when you're back, and ain't nothing going on except for the All-Star game. And
no, there's not much news, and there shouldn't be.
No,
there shouldn't be any. Well, there is not going to be any trades because there's a trade freeze on, I believe, over the.
I don't know actually. Game. Maybe yeah.
I thought there was, but
there is over Christmas. I don't know if there is over the All-Star game, but
as insignificant and as silly as the All-Star game and skills competition has become, there's a lot to talk about.
Yes.
About what happened. I'm sure that most people listening to this probably didn't watch it, but have probably heard about some of the things that happened just because of.
Well, I think a few people might have watched this,
like Green Day swearing, and then we're gonna get into everything and stuff, but there's a lot to talk about, so let's do it.
Okay, so right off the bat, why don't you give us the winners of all the contests? We can just go through that quick.
Right, and so for the record, I watched all the All-Star game and all the skills competition for probably the first time in 5 years.
He said, I'm not going to watch much of this. I'm just going to turn it on, and then he watched the whole thing.
I watched the whole thing. So the skills competition winners, fastest skater was Matthew Barzal, and this was an upset, if you want to say
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think there should be a fastest skater and then a fastest skater with a puck?
It's funny you mentioned that because during the competition, I can't remember who was being interviewed. One of the players, maybe Anthony Duclair or someone, but they said, do you think it's fair that this competition is even happening with Connor McDavid? Like, he's going to win, so how do we even the odds or whatever? How do we make it so it's fair? And he said, whoever it was, I think that Connor McDavid should have to skate with a puck. Well, the rest of us shouldn't. But
and he ended up not winning.
So I have a feeling that this is not taking anything away from Matthew Barzal, who is an extremely fast player, as we can
clearly,
tell. Yeah. I think that Connor McDavid was scared because Connor McDavid at 100% could blow a tire and go into the boards because that's how fast he is. So I think he was holding back a little bit. He probably doesn't want to injure himself because he has had 2 injuries in his career that have been pretty significant. He went into the net earlier this year. I'm not sure if you remember that. In Calgary.
Did you see the documentary that's out on him now?
I saw
about his knee.
I saw the trailer for it, and I meant to watch it, but didn't.
Basically, there's just, if you haven't heard the story of Connor McDavid, they recommended he have knee surgery in the off season, and if they would have, it basically would have changed him forever. Like there's no telling, and he opted out of it to play, and now it's through rehab. It's better.
Yeah.
And he kept that on the down low, and no one knew about it until basically right now.
I remember when he slid into the net. I thought that was earlier this year, but maybe it was last year. But that was a scary moment, and so I have a feeling he held back in his competition. But anyways, regardless, like Matthew Barzal was super fast. Chris Kreider was fast as well. A couple of others. So Matthew Barzal won at 13.175 seconds. The save streak, which I thought was a ridiculous competition. Jordan Binnington won with 10 saves. It was just boring.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you watched it.
No, I've seen a bit of it.
It's just, I don't know. It's hard to have a skills competition for goalies. Like, what do you do? So, I don't know. It just felt a little silly because a lot of the shots, like a lot of the shooters weren't really taking it serious.
And it's not really the same either. Like when you're skating around a rink, like that's the same for everybody.
Yes. That's a legitimate skill.
Yeah, like this is like, well, what's the quality of the shots? Where are the shots aimed? Like
he had some, like Matthew Tkachuk tried to beat between the legs.
Yeah,
little tricks and stuff. So a lot of these shots weren't typical breakaway moves or shots that you'd see in a game. So I thought that one was really silly.
It'd be better if it was a robot doing the shots.
A robot?
A robot doing the shots, and all the other goalies weren't allowed to see the other goalies play. And then totally lost my track. Okay, I'm back. So say a robot's taking the shot.
Yeah.
Okay? This is obviously not going to happen.
All right.
So all the other goalies aren't allowed to watch. So this goalie comes down, let's say 15 times.
Yeah.
And then every other goalie comes in, and that robot does exactly the same move on every other goalie. So the shots, it's the same type of shot, it's the same deke, it's the same everything. So every goalie that's in this competition is receiving the exact same experience that the one before and after did. But they're not allowed to watch, so they aren't allowed to know what's coming.
That's cool.
Now, obviously, developing a robot that could do that is probably not going to happen, but that's how you legitimize that.
What if you used, the tennis ball shooter thing or the baseball shooter?
See, I think most goalies would be able to stop just straight up shots, wouldn't they?
Yeah, probably.
Like you have to give them a little bit. You got to try to make them move.
You have to try and deke them. All right. Anyways, I thought that competition was silly. Yeah. The accuracy shooting. Jacob Slavin won. He got 5 targets in 9.505 seconds. This, I think, will have most of the complaints from the skills competition. Instead of having a net with targets, they had a stupid TV square thing that looked like a net with fake targets with plexiglass in front or whatever it was. And when the puck hits it, it senses and it shatters the fake target.
And apparently the plexiglass or the glass got a crack in it too, so it wasn't even strong enough to withstand the shots. It's like they just had it
wasn't working for a couple minutes, and then they fixed it, and then there was a shot off to the right that hit the
really
edge,
bad whiff,
and it wasn't even close to the target, and the target broke. And it's just seriously, you created the technology with the intention of the skills competition. If there's problems, and I'm assuming that they've ran into some problems prior to the All-Star game. Mm-hmm. How could you go through with it still and put it out there knowing that stuff like this was probably going to happen? It was just a joke.
Maybe they were testing it with just regular people who can't shoot it like that.
I can't imagine that they would test it with just a regular Joe. They'd have someone
I don't know.
There. It's just silly. Bring back actual targets. Is it that big of a deal to put targets up there and have them break? Come on. We don't need a big TV to shoot at. It's ridiculous. Is it not? Is it not ridiculous that we're sitting there shooting at a TV?
We gotta advance the technology, man. That's what the NHL's saying.
Heck no.
We'll get into that later.
Yeah.
I think for this entire podcast, we should have our names hovering above us with arrows pointing at us.
That's as we move it.
As we move, it's just there.
The fastest shot or hardest shot, Shea Weber, 106.5 miles an hour.
Still not Chara levels, but pretty good.
I like this competition. That's why it's been in the All-Star game since the 80s when freaking Al McInnes was back there shooting. And Al McInnes came out on the ice and took a shot. Did you see that?
100.5, right?
something 102.5 or something.
I thought it was 100.5.
Yeah, he used a wooden stick apparently.
Yeah, wooden stick. He freaking smoked it.
I don't know if it was actually a wooden stick.
Oh.
Anyways, he smoked it. It was awesome.
Conspiracies.
That was pretty cool. The shooting stars, which was like the rafter shooting thing. Patrick Kane, 22 points. Just silly.
So they made a pact to only shoot at the middle ones. He came out and said that after.
Yeah.
He said everyone that was in that all agreed we're only going for the one worth 10 in the middle. That's why they didn't shoot at all the other little ones.
There was a whole bunch of other little targets, probably like
2 points,
15
and 4 points
other ones other than the big one in the middle, and not a single person shot at it. And why would they? It's just I thought it was just a really silly competition. But even though I hated it, even though I think the players thought it was silly, even though I don't think the fans were into it really at all, or anyone watching, at least the NHL was trying something new there. I'm okay with them trying a new competition. Like the whole TV thing that I just ranted about, that's ridiculous. Don't do that. Like that's unneeded. But trying new things, I'm okay with that. Try the new thing every once in a while. You never know what's going to stick, and it's good to be innovative in that way, not in the TV
And people will say, well, that has nothing to do with hockey, so this is a stupid skill competition.
And they're right.
But most of this doesn't matter. Most of it is irrelevant anyway.
They're right, and I feel the same way. It has nothing to do with hockey, and no NHL player in a game is ever going to be up on the rafters shooting saucer passes.
Yeah, but most NHL players also aren't going to play this softly.
Exactly.
In order to play hockey, you have to put yourself at risk.
I think the kids really like that competition because you see people on YouTube like the Dude Perfect guys or whatever doing the trick shots and stuff. So I understand. I'm glad they tried it. I don't think they're going to do it again. I just think it's a little bit too silly, but it was enjoyable for about 3 shots, and then it became a waste of time. Yeah, basically. The elite women's 3-on-3 event was pretty great. Canada won 2-1 over the USA. This was really the biggest stage that the women's have ever played in front of people other than the Olympics. So it was really important to have that out there. It was a big initiative by the NHL and by like Hockey Canada and Hockey USA to make this happen. It was good hockey. I mean, it's amazing that we don't have a league in place already, because we didn't need this to know how good women's hockey is. We've known for a while.
We have a league in place. We just don't have necessarily the league that a lot of people want.
AKA the right league.
Yeah.
So there was an interesting conversation between Gary Bettman and Ron McLean. And Ron McLean asked the question, how close are we? Like, what's Cassie Campbell or whoever it was had comments for you last night saying, make it happen and all this other stuff. And I can't remember verbatim what was said, but Gary Bettman shied away and he said something along the lines. Did you see this, by the way?
No, you told me to look at it and I couldn't find it.
He said something along the lines of, I don't really want to get into the legalities of this. It's too complicated. And frankly, it doesn't really have anything to do with this conversation. And it's a little bit too boring to talk about. And I'm thinking, yo, you just brought out a bunch of women to play against each other for 20 minutes. Yeah. Half of this event is about the women, and then you're saying that this is too boring to talk about?
This is what I told you about before. So, on the 31 Thoughts podcast with Elliot Friedman, he talked about it.
Yes.
So, and back, I don't know how many podcasts ago, if we go back, we talked about the women's a couple times in a row because Elliot Friedman started talking about it on Hockey Night in Canada.
And you even said when Elliot Friedman starts to talk about it.
Elliot Friedman got in tons of heat for talking about it. Not from the NHL, but from the Women's Hockey League.
Yeah.
So on the last episode of 31 Thoughts, they did some like questions and answers. So people on Twitter would ask a question and Jeff Merrick would go and cherry pick through and ask them. And as soon as he asked a question about Women's League, Elliot like laughed. And then he said like, I'm not touching this. Like, way to throw a grenade right in my corner. He said, this is very, very touchy to talk about. He said, I need to be very careful on how I reword what I'm about to say. So I guess there's concerns right now with the current women's league that they feel like they're being bullied into oblivion. Like basically they're like, here's the big NHL multi-billion-dollar company and we're trying to have our own league, which we have.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get rid of us because they're not going to create a new league until there is no league.
Right.
Because if they can't take over the league because there's so many investors that are owed money and they don't want to deal with that.
Yep.
So they're waiting for the league to fail before they start.
Right.
And so they can't really say that because it doesn't look good if they're saying that.
And that league's not wrong.
No, but the problem with that league is half of the potential players in that league don't want to play for that league. They're currently boycotting that league.
Exactly.
And they're the people who are in this 3-on-3.
And they're in legality situations because if they continue the boycott, well, they're under contract. And if they don't show up, do the investors sue the players?
I don't know, because a lot of them were from the Canadian Women's Hockey League. And then there's also this National Women's Hockey League.
Yeah.
And the two leagues didn't get along very well. I guess even just to make this 3-on-3 happen was an intense amount of work. So the whole situation is way more complicated than we understand. Like, I understand. I didn't get that before until I heard that on the 31 Thoughts podcast. So I guess I understand that Bettman's a lawyer. He understands that he needs to be careful what he says. So he's trying to stay away from it.
And that's fine. I just wish you had said that. Like, don't insult us by saying, I think this is a boring conversation. It's not a boring conversation. That's why he's asking the goddamn question.
But maybe the boring part is talking about all the legality issues, and maybe the average viewer doesn't want to listen to that.
Well, the average viewer,
like they're sitting there at an All-Star game talking about how great the All-Stars are, and you're going to get into legality issues. Like, I can see from that point of view.
Yeah, but when else are we going to talk about it?
Yeah, like maybe boring is the wrong choice of words, but I understand kind of the message behind it.
If he had said this isn't the right place to talk about that, we'll discuss in the future, totally fine with that answer.
Yeah, boring is probably...
Don't say boring when everyone wants you to tell us what's going on.
I'm with you. Boring, wrong choice of words.
Anyways, it was a decent interview by Ron McLean.
Mm-hmm.
Back on track here. Pacific defeats the Atlantic 5-4 to win the 2020 All-Star game.
So just after we bash the Pacific, say they're garbage, they end up winning.
Yeah, I don't really think
a meaningless game. Just like Pasternak being the MVP. Like, who cares if you're the MVP of the All-Star game? It's irrelevant.
I thought that was, I don't know, it's just silly. It's just, I don't know. It's just silly. But I think the fans really enjoyed it that were there, the kids and stuff. That's who it's for. It's for the kids. It's for
the kids and it's for the investors.
And it's for the families of the players too.
Yeah.
So, moving on to the 2021 All-Star Game, which will be in Florida, Miami, or Sunrise, or whatever you want to classify that area as.
Okay, I got some questions for you here.
Hit me with them.
What worked for you? What didn't work for you overall? What'd you like? What you didn't like? Would you say there was more that you liked or more that you didn't like?
I would say there was more I didn't like, only because I feel like I'm supposed to be overly critical of it, because we do what we do here on this show or on this podcast. So
I think most people know or recognize, whether you're the biggest hockey fan or not, that the NHL All-Star Game is probably the worst one out of all the four major sports in North America, at least.
And you don't just have regular Joes saying that. You have former NHL players saying that. You have former coaches saying this stuff. You have you have current Hall of Famers saying that this is a bit of a joke. So it's time to go back to the drawing board and come up with something completely different, because this isn't working for.
So, like, what would you do? Like, I guess that's the multi-million-dollar question, is what would you do? Because, like, baseball has it the best because the game is basically a one-on-one. It's the pitcher and it's the baseball or the hitter, and they're going to try to hit it and they're going to try to pitch. Like, they're not just lobbing it in.
I think,
like, hockey, you have to be physical to play it at the level it's meant to be played. And if you play in physical, you're risking injuries, and nobody wants to go to an all-star game, both the players and the owners and the teams.
Yeah.
They don't want their players getting hurt at an all-star game. So if you aren't able to...
Unless you make it important and significant to the season.
Which I don't know if they'd ever do.
But why not?
Are you talking about, like, MLB styles where you get the home game in the Stanley Cup?
Yes.
So would you get rid of the... So how would you do the format? Would you do, like, the two divisions play off, and then they represent the conference if they win, and then the two top divisions of each conference play, and whoever wins gets
home ice advantage in the Stanley Cup final?
So would you have to get rid of the 3-on-3 format for that? Or,
no.
So you'd keep
3-on-3. It's the same thing. They just try. Have a skills competition, be silly and joyous, and just have fun with it the night before. That's fine. Whatever. Try new things. Have fun.
But what if it's because it's only 3-on-3? What if you have players on teams on the ice that are completely out of it and they could care less whether they work hard because their team's in 26th place?
Because the following year, if those players are back, some teams will be in different positions, and they'll know that last year when they were there and their team wasn't in the mix, they still had to try for the other player on the ice for their teammates. So I think...
Devil's advocate. What about the people that say that just makes the regular season mean even less than it already does right now?
I mean, it's...
What if the only reason to play hard in the regular season is to have home ice advantage? Like, yeah, you'll get it for, the first couple rounds, but then when the final comes...
But that's 3 out of 4 rounds that you're guaranteed home ice. That's still pretty significant. And I think we see more often that teams win the Stanley Cup on the road versus home.
It does seem
teams
like
never win on home ice in the Stanley Cup finals. So what's it matter?
Yeah.
And if you're going to win the Stanley Cup, you need to be a good road team anyway.
Yep.
So I think it's the ultimate challenge.
The ultimate challenge.
I just think that it needs something. It needs...
What else could you throw at it? Would you want more like hockey, like outside of the game? Like they tried to give the players $1 million to play harder, and
no,
that didn't do it. Players are paid too much money now to care.
It can't be anything to do with money. It was interesting when they did the nationality thing for a while, I think in the late 90s. Mm-hmm. But again, like that's just a bit silly. I'm glad that it's about the team and not about where the player's from, because I don't think it matters where players are from now. There's so many, like you can't say that the best players come from Canada anymore. Look at Finland, look at Sweden. The United States has an amazing program. Like
that's why we need to go to the Olympics, so then we can know.
Exactly. So I really don't think it's about nationality anymore. I don't know. I'd have to think about it. I have to sit down and actually think about it. And I hope that that's what they do, is they sit down. They
do that every year. Hence why we're getting them shooting pucks out of the... See, when I seen that, I was thinking like, let's say that they shot from this end of the ice. Let's say the rink is this way.
Okay.
Let's say they're shooting the pucks from the far end and you're sitting nosebleeds on the other side.
Okay.
So they're just a little blurb in the crowd.
Yes.
You can't really see them. You can't see the puck because it's in the air.
Yeah.
So the puck is with the fans. So all you're seeing is either a little sploosh of the net if they actually get it in, or it just lands on the ice. Like that doesn't seem to me like it'd be that exciting of a thing to watch live.
Yeah. You know what would be exciting to watch live, and it'll never happen, and you're going to laugh when I say this, but I guarantee you it would draw in so many people watching it. Okay?
Okay, hit me.
Zamboni Destruction Derby. Put the captain of each division.
What does that have to do with hockey?
Doesn't. But what does any of the competitions that we just watched have to do with hockey?
You got a good point there.
The captains of every division get in a Zamboni.
And they ram into each other.
Last Zamboni that survives wins. Obviously, that will never happen.
Obviously.
And why would it? But
what do you think would happen more, robots or that?
I don't think you can make a robot. The whole Boston University, Boston College, the thing that they made that robot that can run up
What if
on
it was
things.
something on a track and it ran along the track?
What do you mean?
I don't know.
You'd have to like dig up the ice to
like
put
it
the
wouldn't be
track
it
on
wouldn't be like a robot that skates or moves on its own. It would be an apparatus that's hooked up to a track that runs towards the net. And
how would he deke?
It just goes like this. There's
there's the tracks in the way.
You got a good point there.
You'd have to put it in the ice.
The track would have to be, or it'd have to be like over top, like hanging down. Yeah, you're right. It probably wouldn't work.
I don't know. Anyways,
we're not paid enough to figure out how to fix the All-Star game. We're just paid enough to know that it sucks and it's probably going to keep sucking.
Yeah, it probably is.
What do you think about Green Day dropping some F-bombs?
That was all right. I don't really like Green Day.
I don't either. But you got all those kids there.
That surprised me.
But number one, who invited Green Day in the first place? Because you should have expected this. When Green Day came to Fredericton, which is where we are right now, he pulled out his junk right in the middle of the thing.
His penis?
Yeah.
No way.
Yep. Green Day is banned from coming back to Fredericton. They're not allowed to come here anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He whipped her right out, the one-eared elephant. You're not allowed to come back here anymore.
The old purple-headed yogurt slinger. Dang.
So anyways, he probably shouldn't have done that, but whoever invited them should have known that this is probably going to happen. You got a bunch of kids there.
Well, I mean, hold on. Green Day, I didn't even know they still existed. Well, why are we bringing bands that were popular 25 years ago to play in an All-Star game? Like, not that.
Is there a
not
St.
that
Louis connection to Green Day?
I don't think so.
Because I'm sure there's a St. Louis connection to some famous singer out there.
Yeah, they're the Blues. You gotta, I guess, have something. I don't know. I don't like Green Day, so I think I'm biased in this opinion. I just don't like the music. I think it's garbage.
American Idiot?
It's garbage. Garbage music.
Okay, so let's transition from the All-Star game to technology.
Yes.
Which is very, very much a part of the All-Star game. So we've seen the new player tracking. We've seen the puck tracking. We've seen the digital boards. So Gary Bettman announced on Friday that the player tracking will be in every single playoff arena this playoffs. So all 16 teams will have it installed. And then next regular season, it's going to be in every arena.
Yeah.
Now, if you haven't seen this, you need to go online and look it up because...
Just go on Twitter.
Like, we can explain it, but you're not going to know... Yeah, Twitter has, like, crazy examples of too much on the screen.
Yeah.
So, basically, they're going to attach something to either their shirt or their shoulder pad. I read on the NHL website they have a sensor in the shoulder pad. I read through another website it's something in the shirt. So, I'm not really sure if it's both or one or the others. There's conflicting information. But anyway, there's 200 data points being generated by the player. So they're able to get 200 different sets of data from the player, and they're able to get 2,000 from the puck.
Dang.
So it's kind of intense.
That is intense.
It's a lot of number crunching going on behind this. And they have like a war room. It's like NASA control room to run this player stats. So in the All-Star game, they specifically said they were going to go overboard with it because they just wanted to show what they could do. And they definitely went overboard. It was unbelievable. Like, they'd have the names of people over their heads at times when it didn't need to be there.
Yeah.
And there was one situation where there was a scramble in front of the net, and they had all three players up, and then they had a bar showing how far apart from each other they were. You couldn't see the puck.
Yeah.
So if they would have scored, you wouldn't have seen the goal.
I understand it, and I did think that player names were cool. They're too big, in my opinion. Number one, but not during play. I don't want to see those things above players' heads during play. I know who's on the ice. The average hockey fan knows which players are which. If they're lining up for a face-off, show them for 3 seconds. Show who's on the ice for 3 seconds, then take it away.
Yeah, it
doesn't need to be on there while play's going on. I hope they don't do that. Also, the whole puck tracking thing that looked like the Fox, whatever, that was super annoying. I hope they don't use that.
Would you rather they? I know a complaint that you have. I know a complaint that your dad has is cameras not filming the right thing at the right time. So
yes.
if a face-off's going to happen, they're showing the goalie drinking his water bottle, or they're showing some guy in the bench.
Yep.
The puck is dropped, and you hear the drop, and then it's like maybe half of a second after the drop, they switch to the main camera, and the play's already in motion.
I've been watching games where they've missed goals.
So would you rather they get rid of those cameras completely and just have the players getting ready, and then the names above their heads? So they're coming in, there's the names, they're coming in. As soon as they're ready to line up, the names go away, puck's dropped.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. What's wrong with that? I don't need, to quote Brent, I don't need to see that goalie sucking on a water bottle.
Yeah, exactly. Or a fan eating a hot dog.
Or it's like you score a goal, the goalie goes for a skate. Hey, let's go watch that goalie skate to the glass and come back.
Yeah.
Like, what are you getting from that?
I know. It's all predetermined. Like, there'll be a decision in the boardroom when the goalie covers the puck or whatever. Yeah, I want you to follow him or zoom in on him and follow whatever he does. Meanwhile, there's a fight going on that's not even on screen.
Yeah,
because you have this predetermined shot that you wanted to do.
Yeah, if you can hear the crowd getting excited, and you know there's a fight going on. Yeah, that's bad producing.
Yeah, it's
overproducing.
Lazy overproducing,
which is dumb. It takes more effort to overproduce.
I know,
but you're 100% right.
It's ridiculous.
It's like, I'm gonna do this.
Amazing.
This is my plan. I've already storyboarded what I'm going to do.
Yeah. And it's amazing that this has been going on for 10 years.
Yes.
How are these investors and boardroom members and the people who make the decisions and put these people in these roles not listen to people on Twitter and Facebook and on the people who have feedback, the actual viewer who are making the complaints like us? How do you listen to that and not make adjustments.
It's like more and more cameras all the time, and the producer are just like, oh, well, we gotta use all these cameras.
Yeah.
No, you don't. Give me the main camera the majority of the time. Don't give me that cable camera. I don't like the puck behind the net. I know a lot of people do, like the one that's like centered directly above the net. And if some teams like pressuring, it'll like pivot left, right. I don't like that camera. A lot of people do.
Is that the camera they use for power plays sometimes?
Maybe. It's like directly on the glass above the net.
Yeah.
So it's like straight in the middle of the rink behind the net, looking down, and it just turns left and right. It doesn't like move left or right, but it pivots left and right. So like when there's a play going on behind the net, it like literally looks straight down. Okay. I don't like that camera. I'd rather have the broadcast camera personally, but anyway, no. I think if you're going to bring in all this graphics and player tracking, and like at some points they shrunk the size of the screen down. So like say like if you're watching this on YouTube, you see all of us right now. It's like, let's take this whole corner and shove it up here so you're only seeing 60% of the screen as the game. And here's a big graphic coming down the bottom right showing how many minutes this guy's played. And here's another thing going along the bottom.
Their top speed and all those other stuff.
Like
I don't care the speed of which a player skates. I don't care.
The only time I would care is if you're showing me on a replay. If Connor McDavid blows by a guy and scores a goal in the replay, sure, show me that.
Yeah.
On the third angle from the third different camera.
The only stat that I even remotely have an interest in is shot speed.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care about shot speed during the play.
And you don't want it represented by a red line.
I sure as hell don't want it represented by any line or any puck tracking graphics or anything. I don't care.
See, I said this on our Discord last night. I think I have the perfect situation when all this information can be used. And it doesn't work for traditional TV market.
Okay.
This information they can gather would work perfectly in an app. So if you have NHL Game Center Live or NHL TV or whatever the frig it's called now on your PlayStation or Xbox or your Roku TV or a smart TV, it's like an actual app. It's not just a video feed that you're watching, right? So say you can log into this app. It's on your phone, it's on your tablet, it's on whatever. It's just an app. You can actually pick what you want to see.
So you're the producer.
Yeah, the camera's playing. By default, there's nothing on the screen other than what the traditional TV market sees.
Yes.
And then you have access to be able to track a player, pick what stats you want to see. Like you can customize it for yourself because it's an app. Yep. So I think that would be a good use. And I think broadcasters will get good use out of the information.
I think so too.
Like they can use that information to talk about the broadcast. But I'm just worried that they're going to go overboard with this. And I think they will be a little bit.
Do you want to know? Here's why I think they are going to go overboard. Because the people making those decisions aren't hockey fans. They're investors. They're money hungry people.
We just spent I think they started working on this in 2013, I believe. So they're basically saying we've been working on this for 7 years, 8 years, 6 years, however long it's been. I'm pretty sure it's 2013. I know in 2015 it was out. They were testing it. So I think it was a couple years before that. So you're right. Like
they want to
we've been working on this forever. We've been pumping this money. Now let's show it off.
Yeah. They're trying to give the hockey fans something they don't want and never wanted.
You're not wrong there, I don't think.
Anyway.
Okay, so
rant.
Let's move on to the next set of technologies we've seen. Digital boards.
When I first saw it, I thought they did a pretty decent job because when I watched the play, I didn't notice the boards. But then they started changing the ads.
Mid-play,
and like there would be an NHL shop ad. And a bunch of hats and jerseys and everything would come up, and it would take up from blue line to blue line, and it would be animated as it came in. It's like, okay, that's distracting. Mm-hmm. And then I started to actually look at the boards while players skated in front of it, and while they're making line changes and stuff. It's distracting. You know what that is? That's good advertising. That's forcing your eyes to look on those boards. Do you know what not is good advertising? NHLshop.ca is advertising jerseys that you don't have. The jersey that you showcased on the boards in the All-Star game, if you actually go to the store, you can't buy it. It's not there because you only sell Fanatics. You don't sell Adidas, and nobody wants Fanatics because it's garbage. Take that. How do you feel about Fanatics? I hate Fanatics. Okay, so here's my complaint with the board. So if you didn't see it, basically it only happens when it's on the broadcast camera. So left and right, if it's the tight shots, it's the regular ads. So I got a question about that. If you paid for an ad that's actually physically on those boards, but 90% of the time
that ad is invisible because it's being covered up by one ad. Because when the digital boards are playing, it's one ad repeated around the whole rink.
Yeah.
So I looked, because I'm weird like this.
You look at the price.
I looked at the ads that were on the boards actually.
Okay.
And I said, let me see if there's actually an ad for this company when the digital thing comes up. And there was multiple that never came up. So they paid to have an ad in the corner.
Right.
Let's say it was waffles, chicken, and eggs or something. Like that doesn't exist, but that's just to say what they did.
Okay.
They said, Neil's Waffles and Chicken. You invested.
Yeah. My company.
Neil's Waffles, Chicken, and Eggs.
Man.
You have the corner slot on both ends. You paid, I don't know, $300,000 for this one game.
Man, I'm rich.
Really expensive.
All right.
Now, the only time people are going to see your ad is if it's an in-corner shot of the guy holding the camera looking through the glass, because when it's on the broadcast camera, which is the camera most people like,
yes,
they're digitally enhancing that and only showing specific ads. And there was way more ads that were actually physically on those boards than showed in the digital ones.
Yep, I agree.
So either they have to reduce how much money those physical ads cost, or they're getting mega ripped off.
Well, so when people have those ads, do they pay the arena?
I don't know.
I assume so. So how does the arena say, don't do that, broadcasters? Don't put the digital ads there. I don't think they have the authority to say that.
I don't know.
I think it's two completely different things.
This is where I wish we were friends with John Shannon. I'd be like, John Shannon, I need you to come on here and explain this. And he's like, oh, that opened a can of worms. Because I think it does open a can of worms. Not that most people care what investors and marketers think, but... Because
TSN and Sportsnet and all these people put in those fake boards, the new fake ads on the boards or whatever, the digital ones that we're talking about, they don't care about the arena and what's the ads on the boards or the companies that put, like, they don't care. Boom, magic, covered up. Why wouldn't they do that? That makes them more money. Because right now they're not making any money on advertising on the boards because the boards are physically there. They don't own the boards. They don't own the arena. So I understand it, but it's still crap. And that's why they started putting the fake ads on the glass.
It must be, I think the teams must get a chunk of it though. I can't imagine it just goes to the arena. Like a lot of teams have contracts with their arena, but they don't own their arenas. They're leasing a spot, like a lot of them are.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think you're advertising for the arena for that team. So I imagine the team gets the majority chunk of that money. I would have to think. Because they're renting the arena. They're not renting the boards. The boards are...
They would get some of the money because if the team wasn't there, the ads wouldn't be on the boards because no one would go to the arena. I would have to
think the team gets the majority of the money.
Okay.
Like over half. But like I said, for a small company... They can advertise. Like we talked about this on a podcast a long time ago.
Yes.
Like in Ottawa, I think a guy wrote in and told us.
He owned a company in Ottawa and he paid for the ads, the fake ads on the glass because they were cheaper.
Yeah, to show for one period, I believe it was,
for one period, cheaper than to show a physical ad on the boards in Ottawa.
Yeah. And I have a feeling that the digital ads are probably going to be more expensive because
it's going to flop.
It's one ad for the whole thing. And to get to your point where it's distracting, that's awesome for people in marketing because, hey, we're forcing them to look at that.
Yeah.
But it's terrible for the game.
It is terrible.
Like there was a tire ad that kept coming up. The tires come up from the bottom and the text comes down from the top. You can't not look at that.
Yeah,
because
I know.
The players are skating in middle and all of a sudden you got a big going on in the back. It's like, whoa.
I will say this though. One thing I did like is when the players scored a goal, the digital ads or the boards turned like black with like fire and stuff. I thought that was actually pretty cool.
It's cool, but when they, for at least for what I seen, when the majority of the goals went in, they cut to a side camera immediately, and then you don't even get to see the goal celebration.
Exactly. It's frustrating.
So I don't know. It's interesting.
It's not a bad idea. It's just too digital. If you're going to put ads there, make them static.
Yes, and don't change them while the play is ongoing.
Don't change them while the play is
ongoing. Obviously, that makes it harder from the whoever's selling the ads. Like, I don't know who gets the digital ads. Is it the broadcast companies? Like the team obviously gets a chunk of it. The broadcast team. Like, I don't know how you guarantee time because, like, based on the current system, you could say, hey, we're going to show your ad every X amount of seconds. Like, we'll show it for 10 seconds and switch to the next one.
Yes.
And you're one of, I don't know, 15 people that we might cycle through during the game. So you're guaranteed to get a certain amount of time because they're cycling through on a set interval.
Exactly.
If they can't change it while play is ongoing, one could be up on a 3-minute stretch.
Yeah.
And then, you start going through them real quickly on, 40-second stretches.
Yeah.
So I guess that's something for them to figure out.
It's going to be tricky. Also, when players open the boards and open the door to the bench, the ad doesn't stick with the door.
Yeah, they go through it.
They just go through it, and it looks awkward.
Now, here's my question to you. Would you stop watching hockey if they kept the ads?
No.
So, to their advantage, it's their advantage to keep it how it is because that draws your eyes. Yeah, people don't like it, but they're still going to watch.
Yeah, they're still going to watch.
Yeah, I got a question to ask about your dad.
Yep.
Do you think your dad would be like, I don't like that ad. That's intruding on my hockey experience. I'm not going to buy that product.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. There would be... Brent would have a whole list of boycotted companies. Anyone
who advertises an animated ad during play goes on the list.
He does it now for companies who advertise in the glass.
Really? Yeah. That's awesome.
I think he does. So, yeah, I can see him doing that. And I can see other people doing that, including myself possibly, like NHLshop.ca, who doesn't carry Adidas jerseys. Okay, continue. I think we're in for a losing situation here. I really do. I think it's going to... I don't think it matters anything that we say because we are peons.
Yes.
We are insignificant.
But even if we stop watching, it doesn't matter.
It does not.
But I think we're still going to keep watching.
We have to because it's their only choice.
Yeah.
Because they have a monopoly.
Yeah. So this is a no-lose situation for them. They're going to guarantee they draw eyes because it's animated. It's right in the middle of the screen.
Yep.
People are not going to like it, but they're still going to watch. So even if you're getting some bad press, doesn't matter because at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is ratings.
Yep.
Ratings and ticket sales.
And I don't think it's not significant enough to make someone not watch hockey.
Yeah.
And until that happens,
I find that the usage of the names over the heads is more distracting if it's overdone than the boards.
I agree.
Like they need to be very careful with how much they use that. And we're going to see in the playoffs.
I just don't ruin the game of hockey for technology.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't a movie. Just let us watch the game. We don't need all this bullcrap. Just let us watch the game that we love. Don't ruin it for us. And they are starting to ruin it for us. Mm-hmm. It needs to stop. I know it's 2020. I know technology's everything right now. We need to take a step back.
And we talked about a while ago, I don't even know if your dad was here for this one. This was a long time ago. We said, like, if you could buy a package that's just the broadcast camera with no announcers, that'd be pro. Like, you see everything that's going on. Like, you see the changes. Like, you can see the whole ice. Like,
yeah, and a sport that does well with technology is football. Mm-hmm. Football does an amazing job. And maybe they went through the growing pains that the NHL is going through right now. And maybe the NHL will learn from that and figure it out and dial it back a little bit. But
I was watching something. I think it might have been a topic that was coming up that we'll talk about. TSN has a little miniseries, a 2-part miniseries out. And on the second part, they start talking. We'll get into this in a bit. They start talking about the video review and the video assisted review, like soccer has.
Yeah.
So football has this thing now, where they'll have the camera like way up high, and they're looking down, and they'll be showing a replay. And they'll say, "Let's go in on that player." So the camera zooms in on the quarterback, and all of a sudden you're in a Google Street View of what that player sees, and you're looking around like this. That's crazy.
It is crazy. It is crazy for sure.
All right, so let's talk about referees a little bit.
All right.
I'm going to need help with a pronunciation of this word right here. Because there's no way I'm going to say that.
Great. Oh.
No. So Dan sent an email to you that you forwarded to me because I guess it was sent to me, but it was just to your email. Or to the post email.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read the email. Is that okay?
Oh, yeah. No, please do.
So Dan sent this. I think Dan's from Sweden, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Dan sent this in. He said, "Hello, Jason. I hope you have a great day. I have a topic that maybe can be great for the podcast. This season in
Hockey Allsvenskan, a.k.a. Sweden's second tier league."
So, this is Sweden's second tier league. The referees have a segment called the Judges' Comments. So after the game, they leave the ice, and one of the two main referees does a simple interview with an official from the league. This has been put in place to give a more transparent view on why the referees see things and make the calls they do. And then 15 minutes after the game ends, the video is published on the league's website for everybody to see. And then he asks, is this something for the NHL to look into and maybe take after? So he sent a link in with the email that showed comments for a game. And there was actually, he said, scroll down and look for this because it was all in Sweden. So or Swedish, I couldn't understand it.
Yeah.
But he was right. You click on it and there's a referee sitting there talking to a guy for like a minute and a half. That's all it is. And then the referee goes back into his
hut.
Yeah. I like this idea.
I do too. I think it'd be really important for the hockey fan to have that connection to a referee and to have an explanation or even just a vicarious relationship with some of the referees. Because right now, we know... Name 3 referees in the NHL.
You couldn't.
Exactly. And that's like... I could probably name 3. Dan O'Halloran, Wes McCauley.
Those are the only 2 I can think of.
Okay, I can't. I'm not at 3. I can name 2. So...
Oh. There's... Yeah.
Kerry Fraser.
If he's retired, that doesn't...
So... I really like this idea, but I don't see the NHL ever doing it because they protect the referees more than anything else.
Okay. Now, we've been hating on the referees quite a bit. Everybody's been hating on the referees quite a bit, actually.
Yes.
So I'm going to get into this little TSN blurb. So TSN on YouTube has a little mini series out called Ref You Suck. I highly recommend you watch it. It's 2 videos, part 1, part 2, and they're both like 10 minutes long. So it's 20 minutes to watch this little mini series. And basically... it gives a little behind-the-scenes information about reffing. So it's more than we've seen. It's not just hockey. It's football, soccer. They cover like referees in general. So I want to read you the opening remarks the narrator makes in the first episode.
Okay.
So there's multiple scenes going on of refs doing their things, players screaming like verbal stuff you can't say on this podcast at them, fans cheering. So it's basically just... referees taking it from everybody while this narrator says these comments.
All right.
So I'm going to read this to you and you give me your comments on this opening remark. So he says, referee, why would any sane person want that job? Striped villains stuck in an impossible position between 2 opposing interests. Every year the microscope magnifies and the scrutiny escalates. It's a realm where perfection is demanded and abuse is a constant threat.
That's true.
That is accurate.
It is very accurate. And I do feel bad, but I don't at the same time because I think they get a lot of unjust hate, but there's times like last year in the playoffs and other years where there's an egregious decision made by a referee that should not happen, and it just ends in controversy because they made this decision that they never should have. So, like, although I do feel bad, I don't at the same time because I'm not saying all referees, but some make decisions that they shouldn't.
Yes.
And
99% of the time they get it right.
99% of the time they get it right. It's the 1% when they get it wrong, which is the problem. And if they had taken their egos and put them in their pocket for some of these calls, we wouldn't be sitting here and talking about this probably.
So are you talking about calls that they looked at and still stuck with their gut?
Yes.
Yeah, so video assist, video review.
They don't want to be wrong.
Yes.
So,
I'm with you on that.
Okay.
So I think part of the problem overall is there's just way more cameras, way more angles, way more high definition than there used to be. So you're seeing, the person at home is seeing more than they did before.
Absolutely.
So you can't necessarily say it's worse now than it has been. It's just you couldn't see what you could see in the past.
You had to trust the referees
yes.
in the past.
That's right.
You don't have to now.
Right. So my question is, I don't know where I put. Okay, I'm going to read my last point here. So with how much money is on the line today versus 20 years ago?
What do you mean by money? Like
I'm talking about money in general. You're paying players multi-million dollars, ticket sales. Like if a team, for example, Vegas, they get screwed on that call, they didn't move on.
Right.
How much do you think that cost Vegas organization to not move on?
Well, the players get a bonus every round that they progress.
And ticket sales. They were guaranteed at least 2 more home games at multi-million dollars per game.
It's millions of dollars.
So that one referee's decision was a multi-million dollar call.
Yeah.
Do you think that's too much responsibility to not have something else in place that either backs up the referee or a better tool to help him?
What's the better tool? Because
something that doesn't exist right now.
Because some of these decisions are made based on ego, based on an emotional
Yes. Do you think that should
reaction?
I don't know how I word this. I said, would you be okay? This is my third point. I said, would you be in favor of a computer system that automates events if it could be proven that the technology was reliable?
So, like if a puck cross the line.
So right now, this is a hockey podcast, but getting into baseball. Next year in baseball, in the minor leagues, and I think they're going to do it in preseason things, they have a technology right now that they're testing where as soon as that pitch crosses the plate, the referee has a thing in his ear and a computer says, strike, ball, strike. The referee, the umpire, doesn't make the call. He repeats what the computer says and then does the sign for it.
So but we're talking about as if the view, I don't know if you've ever watched baseball before, but you get the view from behind the pitcher looking towards the plate, and you get the digital box. And every time that the ball goes through it, you can see what's a strike or not. As a viewer, you know instantly. You know before the ump.
Mm-hmm.
That decision or that view is put into words and then sent to the ump's
as soon
ear.
as soon as that catcher catches the ball, so it's like boom, catch, strike. Boom, catch, ball. That's how fast it is. And it's real time. They showed an example of it.
I'm okay with that in baseball. That makes sense.
Yeah, so
I don't know how that works in hockey, though.
When people have, so say a play's offside, blown down.
But how do they know offside? Because we have situations now where is the skate raised? Is it not? Is it?
They use this player tracking, and they have some sort of technology. Like I said, if the technology, like I'm not talking about right now, I'm saying if there was technology and it could be proven reliable,
okay, so
would you be in favor of that?
The call on the ice is offside.
There's no call. It's just
okay.
As soon as that offside happens, something in the ref's ear says offside. He blows it down.
That's interesting.
So there's no if it's close and he doesn't know and he lets it go, it's instant in his ear. Offside. He blows it down. Says the computer system said it was offside.
I want a detailed explanation of the technology and example of it being.
That's what I mean. Though this is assuming that it's reliable.
Assuming it's reliable.
So no video review. There's no review. The computer knows, and the computer, like, there's no slow in play. It's just that puck went in, that puck was played with a high stick. Examples like that.
I would say yes until someone hacks the system or does something to where it affects a major play.
Yeah.
And then we're back. We're 15 years from now, and then something happens, and we're going back 15 years and making decisions that we haven't had to make for 15 years.
But in general, would you be favor of a computer making the right call immediately, like no video assist required, or would you still rather it be organic and in the hands of the referees?
I feel like it should still be organic and in the hands of the referees.
I think most people will.
I think that they just need to be reprimanded or have better referees in place that aren't going to get emotional and aren't going to have egos and stuff. Like, there's nothing wrong with being wrong.
And I think we talked about that last podcast, I think. Like, it's okay to be wrong. Like,
it's totally okay to be wrong.
I don't, perfection is demanded. Like, people are going to be mad if you make the wrong call, but if you have video assist there to back you up, or video review, I don't know why I keep calling video assist. If that shows you that the call was right, make the right call.
Yeah, like it's there.
Or
there for a
keep
reason.
developing this player tracking and the sensors so that even if you can't see the play, like you don't, like, even with the million cameras they have, you still necessarily can't see everything. If the data's in the puck or in the skate or wherever it is that shows you, and you can't blame a ref for getting a call wrong if even all the 21 cameras looking at that play, it's obstructed.
Yes, I agree.
So if he has other information through the player tracking and the puck tracking that says, hey, this actually happened.
Yes, I'm totally fine with that. It's the situations that bother me is when he makes the call on the ice, it's the wrong call. He goes to look at the video, which proves that it was the wrong call. And he still says that the cameras are wrong, whatever, and then he made the right decision on the ice because of his ego. That's why, when we talked about this before, so we have a third ref in between the benches or whatever, an actual NHL referee who's just not on skates that night, making the third party decision for the big decisions, because he's not on the ice making decisions. He doesn't care what the other refs made on the ice. It's not affecting him any. He's not invested in that decision. He's off the ice. That third referee makes the major decision on the major plays that need reviewing.
So each NHL game has I don't know what it's called. It's like, they're like the people who lead the refs. They're in charge of evaluating the performance of the refs for that game. So every game, there's a guy that's assigned to the refs, and after the game, they go over what they did well, what they didn't do well, and they talk about certain things. What if his job was to make those controversial calls? Because if you have a guy that after the game is able to tell the refs what they did wrong and what they did right, why can't he be the one who says, no, this is the right call, this is the
Is he an employee of the NHL or the Reffing Association?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm assuming he's an employee of the NHL, but I don't know.
I'm assuming he's an employee of the NHL. I would,
but he has to know a significant amount to be able to, like, if you have NHL refs, say this is like the Western Conference playoffs. So you have basically 4 sets of refs left, one for the East, one for the West. And these are what you've determined to be the 4 best based on their performance.
Yep.
So if you have a guy that goes into their little ref room after the games and says, this is what you did well, this is, like, obviously that guy has some decent authority because he's talking about what the 4 best refs did good and didn't do right.
Right.
Nice English there. So why can't, if he obviously has to know a lot to be able to do that, right?
He should know as much or more.
He should know more. And he has the advantage of being able to see big picture, whereas they have a linear vision, right?
Yes.
So why can't he, part of his job, he's already there. You don't need another employee. He's already there.
That's true.
He's watching the refs. He's evaluating them. If he sees them make a wrong call, why can't he be the one to say, if this is the right call, instead of doing it after in the room and saying, you didn't get that call right?
Probably because he's an employee of the NHL and the referees are going to, if that was the situation, they'd say, what's the point of having us here? If the NHL wants to make the rules and make decisions, and
because you still got to have the refs on the ice. They're only stepping in when they're clearly.
But I don't think the referee association would be okay with that.
I think they should be okay with that.
I think they should be okay with it.
They're going to get way more abuse for making an egregious call and living with it than they are if someone's going to overturn.
Totally.
Like if Dan O'Halloran makes a bad call, and then the third guy comes in, or the manager of that game, I don't know what his title is. If he comes in and overturns it, 3 days later, it's not a story anymore.
10 minutes later, it should be a story.
Like the Vegas event is still a story.
And that's why he didn't referee in the following series.
That's right.
And that's why whoever else, there was another referee.
So the meeting after the game, it was determined that the wrong call was made by that guy.
Yep.
Why can't that guy, he's already there, he's already being paid. Give him a little bit more money on his salary. Okay, now you're actually there to make intervening calls.
I agree.
In real time.
Nothing's been done since that event. Am I right or am I wrong? Could that happen again this year?
It could.
Exactly. And that's the problem.
I know they had talks about things like that, but
yeah, that's all it is. They had talks.
It's gray area subjective, right?
And I know a lot of the stuff has to be decided in the owners' meetings and stuff that they have in Florida and all those other places and stuff. They need to vote and whatnot, but
I don't know if reffing changes need to.
Well, it's a rule change.
Yeah, but you can have rule changes. It's not a rule change though. It's just that's a good question actually.
It's not a rule change, but it is at the same time. It's an evaluation change. It
is, but I can't imagine too many owners being like, hey, we got a third guy who can make the call. It doesn't need video review.
I think
most owners are going to want the right call.
I think most owners are old school and they don't like change.
Oh, that's definitely true.
So all this new fancy stuff, they're like, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I like it the way it is.
But all this new fancy stuff's coming in.
They're old. They're old school. They don't care.
Yeah.
They are traditionalists. They love hockey. And mistakes will happen. They're okay with the mistakes. Mistakes have happened in hockey for over 100 years. Mm-hmm. And that's just part of the game.
Yep.
So they don't like all this new fancy stuff. They don't care what new suggestions you have. They don't care. And that leads us to not making changes when changes should probably happen.
I think having that guy that's in charge of those refs be able to make a play, overturn a play or overturn a call in real time is the easiest and most effective changes they can make. He's already there. He's already being paid. He's already evaluating the performance of the refs. He's already going to tell them they were wrong when they go back and have their meeting. So why not do that in real time?
It's barely a change to allow him to make that decision.
Exactly. It doesn't need video review. It doesn't slow the play down other than the arena horn goes, Boo! And then the refs look over and, hey, a change is being made.
Yeah. That person, guy or girl, is at every single game anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that.
So anyway, if you're on YouTube and watching this, if you're on a podcast on YouTube later, go check out that TSN 2-part miniseries. It's pretty good.
I haven't seen it, so I'm going to do the same.
Part 1 is mainly talking about abuse of officials, and Part 2 is talking about kind of video assists and replays and stuff like that. And They do talk about how there's a lot of people stepping away as referees right now because of the abuse. It's like one of the things they talk about in it, which is really good, is they say the abuse in the major leagues is whatever, like players yelling at them, coaches yelling at them. Like in baseball, you got you have your manager come out and just like screaming like crazy right in front of the. But in the minor leagues, it's way worse. Like there's videos of them getting beat up, like slashing their tires. Like it's way worse. So they're saying a lot of people are getting out of it because there's just too much abuse, which is eventually going to affect the performance of the top because there's not as many in it anymore.
Yep.
So they're saying that basically there could be a reffing problem coming on. So anyway, check that video out. It's pretty cool. The 2 videos. And I think we can leave the refs alone for that.
We'll let it fly.
Let's move on to Gritty.
Yeah, Gritty. Gritty's in trouble.
Gritty is in trouble. And it's not Gritty. It's the guy who was playing Gritty at the time. Like a lot of people are like, oh, Gritty. There's not going to be no more Gritty anymore. Yes, Gritty's not going anywhere. It's the guy who was playing Gritty.
Yeah. Gritty's not an actual thing.
Yeah, and it was an alleged situation. And I'll get your opinion on it after. So he's under an investigation for allegedly physically assaulting a 13-year-old boy during a photo shoot in their arena.
Okay.
So Chris Greenwell, who is the boy's father, he's a season ticket holder. He wrote on Facebook that his son was punched and injured by Gritty and that the organization, quote, tried to bribe me to not speak about it, end quote. He later said in an interview with Philadelphia Inquirer that he took a running start and punched my son as hard as he could. So when I first heard this, and I have been watching a lot of Overdrive lately on TSN because I for some reason I love those guys now. And Jamie McLennan's first comment was like, "This is a cash grab. Like this guy is just trying to sue."
Oh my god, it's so obvious.
So anyway, we'll get back to that. The police department is now investigating. The Flyers said they investigated and they couldn't find anything that happened. They said there's no video of the event. And I mean, okay, this is an alleged incident, so it's not really fair for us to make judgments.
You're right.
And what's weird to me is this guy's a season ticket holder.
Yes.
So if you're going to try to like screw the system, or
he has that in his advantage,
like, and that's what they were talking about up here in Canada is like a lot of times in the States, people will try to sue over anything just to get money. Like
that's how it works in the States.
I bought a coffee and I burned myself. I'm going to sue you.
Well, the Captain Crunch, you know that story, right?
No.
So some lady, I think it was a lady, she cut the roof of her mouth on Captain Crunch or whatever. Because I know, like, have you eaten Captain Crunch before?
Yep.
Have you cut the roof of your mouth?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, she sued and she won.
How much did you win?
Millions of dollars.
What?
Millions of dollars.
No way.
Yes. It's ridiculous. So, anyway.
So, like I said, it's not fair for us to make a judgment on this. And the thing that throws it off is because he's a season ticket. If it's just a regular guy, like, sure, I could see it. The fact that this guy's a season ticket holder is like,
it unfortunately gives him some validity.
Yeah, like why would a season ticket holder? But if you're in a line to go to a photo op with Gritty, like you're waiting like 30 minutes to go get this photo taken with Gritty.
Yeah.
How does no one else have a photo or a video or at least a witness to the event?
Yeah, saying, "Oh yeah, this actually did happen. This guy's right."
There's no way this was an off. Like we're in a back corner by ourselves, no one else around.
Yeah. A photo shoot. You think they're the only people there during a photo shoot? Like, not a chance.
Yes, and that's what Jamie McLennan was saying. Like, this is like and then he said after, he's like, I shouldn't really speculate when I don't know anything, but
with all the cameras nowadays, there'd be a security camera somewhere.
That's what I'm saying.
So just publish it, and maybe they can't because of legality reasons yet. And stuff,
and if it did happen, let's say hypothetically it did happen.
Okay, hypothetically,
he said his son gave Gritty a light tap on the head, and then Gritty punched him after. So if that did happen, this is a 13-year-old kid. What do 13-year-old kids do? They freaking punch mascots because that's what you do when you're a kid. You punch them, you kick them.
If he hit Gritty,
he probably punched him.
He probably punched him.
And then if that happens, then maybe the guy didn't like that and he went and hit the kid back. Maybe. I don't know.
Survival of the fittest.
Like, I don't know. It's either one or the other.
If you punch a mascot in the head, you deserve to get punched by a mascot.
I can't imagine that the guy that's under the Gritty costume would just go punch a kid for no reason.
It doesn't make sense. Why would you do that?
I can't imagine why you do it, period. Yeah. Especially when you're playing that character who's that like in the spotlight right now.
I know.
So, I mean, if he did, obviously something happened to trigger it. Doesn't mean he's right. Like, if he did it, he shouldn't have done it. But without seeing any evidence, I'm kind of finding this story hard to believe, other than the fact that this guy's a season ticket holder.
Also, it's almost February. If this happened in November...
He's saying that the reason why he's bringing it to light now is because nothing's been done about it, so he's gone to file a police incident.
Well, I don't know. I want to see video.
There's no video. There's no witnesses. There's no photos. But it's a photo op. Like a lineup to go, like...
Someone's got...
And he said he took his son to a chiropractor, and he's got bruises on his back. I don't know. Philadelphia looked into it. He alleges they tried to bribe him. Season ticket holder saying that the team...
How? Okay. Show us this phone conversation if you recorded it.
Yeah, like who...
Show us the text.
Like, who did you have the conversation with? What was the guy's name?
What was their position?
Yeah.
Like, tell us. Don't just come and spew your crap to a magazine. Like, give us facts. Show us stuff. Don't, like...
Well, I mean, the police would have all that now.
Well, if he's going to go to a newspaper, he should give it to them.
Yeah.
He can't just come and spew this crap and just blanket blame someone. Give us the facts. Show us what you have for evidence. If your son has bruises and you got pictures of them, post them.
Yeah.
Let's see the bruises. Like, I don't know. Frustrating.
Like maybe the kid got in a fight at school and got bruised up, and now he's blaming Gritty and trying to get money. Like, it doesn't make sense.
It's a weird situation.
The fact that he's a season ticket holder, you're right, gives some validity to, or at least you would think it would.
You'd think so.
But the whole situation doesn't make sense other than the fact that he's a season ticket holder. It sounds like a cash grab to me.
At the end of the day, it shouldn't matter if he's a season ticket holder. Like,
but the fact that he is means he's someone who has a lot of money, or at least a decent amount of money, and B, he's someone that's like regularly continuing to pay thousands of dollars every year to keep going back to that arena. Yeah. And now he's saying that team did something to harm his son.
Even if it happened...
If it was a regular Joe Schmo, you would just think, hey, cash grab. But with this... I don't know, to me anyway...
The team, wait, hold on. What's the team do? What does he want the team to do?
He wants money.
He wants money.
He wants money to pay for the expenses it costs for his son to go to the chiropractor, get healed, and damages to mental, I'm assuming. That's where all the big monies come. Is
okay. So the Flyers go to the chiropractor, pay the guy's bill. Don't give him any money directly.
No, he wants the money for emotional damages. That's what they all want down in the States.
Well, he can.
So when I say it's a cash grab, he is actually looking for money.
No, he doesn't get no money. If he wants something, he can lick my bag.
You don't have any evidence.
I don't care. You want money for emotionally damaging. Well, give your head a shake.
I don't know if he does, but I'm assuming he does. He did say he wanted money to pay for the bills and...
Okay, I'm fine with that. You pay the... Philadelphia Flyers pay the bills. I don't care if he's lying or not. Just pay the bills. You're a
like, it's a 13-year-old kid, so you can't say, like down in the States, they go for lost wages and emotional damage. That's the two big things they go for. You know it's right, though, right? They want the money that they had to endure this traumatic experience... And they want money for, hey, I wasn't able to work for 2 years, so I lost 2 years of wages. So you owe me for both of those.
God.
So this is a 13-year-old kid. He's not losing any wages because he doesn't work. So all he's got is his emotional damages.
What a ridiculous situation. Why are we talking about this? Not why are we talking about this.
Because everybody's talking about it.
Why are we in a world where a man is trying to sue a mascot or an organization that has a mascot? This is ridiculous.
What happens if it comes out and this dude is totally right? This guy that plays the mascot is just a crazy man, and he actually did hit him.
I don't even care if he's right. The fact that he wants money for emotional damages, like, grow up.
But I don't know if he does. I'm just assuming he does. He did say he wanted money. He wanted money to pay for the bills, and I'm assuming he wants...
I'm okay with the bills being paid. That's reasonable.
There's no way he's just going after a $2,000 chiropractor bill.
Why not?
Because he's just not. He's not making a big fuss out of this.
He should be reasonable. You want hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars for emotional support? Give your head a shake. Grow up, you pansy.
These are the gritty conversations get you hated.
I hate the whole suing some, like...
Oh, it's bad.
It's
down
ridiculous.
in the States, it's so bad. It doesn't really happen much up here.
It's disgusting.
Oh, it's bad down there. At least it was. I don't know if it's as bad. Like, people were faking accidents to try to get money and then splitting the money with the person they were in on it with.
I know.
Like, fraud.
Like, it's so aggravating that this is the world that we live in.
And it's like all the companies advertising, they got to have fine print over, like, do not put this bag on your head. It could kill you and it could suffocate you. And someone may try to do that and get money out of it. Like,
I would argue that gritty just in general could be emotionally damaging because he's gritty.
Yeah.
Just kidding. But
okay. Let's move on. It's enough of gritty. So let's talk about this is something that a lot of people may not know about. So Tyne Valley, Prince Edward Island is a very small little community up in the northwestern part of PEI.
I am extremely familiar with Tyne Valley.
Are you?
I dated a girl for 3 years from Tyne Valley.
Oh, wow.
I know that place very well.
Are you familiar with this arena? The Tyne Valley?
I've been in that arena many times.
Okay, so this arena last month went up in flames. It burnt, and it was a total loss.
Yes.
They can't salvage anything from it. So Hockey Night in Canada gave a shout out to the situation. There's a GoFundMe started up to help them rebuild. They're currently going through an insurance claim. They don't know how much money they're going to get for it. So right now, the people in that small community are trying to be nominated for Craft Hockeyville.
Yes.
So for the people that are interested in helping them out that may be watching or listening to this, you can go on the Craft Hockeyville website. Nominations close on February 9th, so you have to do it before February 9th. And they think that they have a pretty good story to tell if they do get in.
They have a really good story.
They're probably right. Apparently that arena means a lot to that community.
It does.
When they talked about, and I talked about this, I'm going to mention this because I talked to you about this before we started. So
Okay.
Ellie Friedman brought it up on Hockey Night in Canada. The reason that this was brought up was because my boy, Gerard Gallant, called Elliot Friedman and said, hey, is there anything you can do to bring attention to the situation?
Why did he call Elliot Friedman?
Because Elliot Friedman is the man.
Exactly.
Okay, so Elliot Friedman said, Gerard Gallant has only called me 2 times. He said one was the time where he got fired in Florida. He said that situation has been completely overblown. He said, I called my own cab after I was fired, and then it got reported that he had to take a cab, and he said that the poor guy that's in charge of our travel is getting absolutely hammered in the media. I'm scared he's going to get fired. Can you at least write a story that clears it up and explains? And Elliot thought that was a good idea, and he did it.
Right. I remember that.
Second time was just recently. He said that arena's gone down, and Gerard Gallant's a PEI guy. He said, is there anything you guys can do to bring, national attention to it? And he did. So he said, Gerard Gallant's called me, and those are the only 2 times he's ever called him. He said, he called me, and he wanted me to do things in the media, but those were both for very good causes. And he said that just speaks to Gerard Gallant's
integrity and character, yeah.
He said he didn't call me to get his name out looking for a job.
It has nothing to do with Gerard Gallant.
It was just, hey, this guy's taking a lot of heat in Florida, and this arena burnt down, and these guys are at a loss. Can you bring some attention? So that's pro for Gerard Gallant.
That is pro.
So yesterday it was announced that some former NHL players, including Ray Bourque, are going to have a celebrity hockey game in Summerside, I believe.
Okay, cool.
And they're going to skate with the Charlottetown Islanders.
Yeah.
Is that a team?
Yeah. They play in the QMJHL.
Okay, so if you are in the PEI area, this is going to happen on February 9th as well. Tickets are $15 for an adult and $10 for a kid, and every single cent of that goes to helping the arena be rebuilt.
Do you know what date that is?
February 9th.
Yeah, but I mean like what day? Sorry. Like a Monday or a Tuesday? Or
I'm assuming... I can look right now. Carry the story while I'm looking this up.
As most of you know, I lived in Prince Edward Island for probably the majority of my adult life. And so PEI is pretty close to home for me, if not home in general. I see Prince Edward Island as my home more than Fredericton, as weird as that is.
This week, February 9th is a Sunday, by the way.
Is a Sunday. So this story actually means quite a bit to me. And like I said, I'm familiar with Tyne Valley. There's a big Tyne Valley Oyster Festival that happens every single summer. And it's a concert, but there's a ton of events. There's parades and all the stuff. But one of the things is like an oyster shucking competition or whatever. Mm-hmm. It happens in the arena. And there's a whole event that happens in the arena where you go around. There's like not a market, but there's things you can try. Like there was a hot sauce section there, and you could try all like the different hot sauces and stuff. And it's a small place. It's unbelievable the amount of community things that happen in that arena. Mm-hmm. It's not just an arena that sits empty in the summer because there's no hockey going on. It's always used. Mm-hmm. It's huge. Mm-hmm. Like it's very important to that town. So
it's a big loss.
It's a huge loss, not just for the young kids to playing hockey, but for the community in general. It would be a significant win, and a dream come true to get that arena rebuilt, thanks to Hockeyville.
Yeah. So the people who win Hockeyville get $250,000, which is clearly not enough. To build an arena, but with there's fundraising going on. There's I think I read Molson is going to donate $1 from every case of beer they sell up to $20,000.
Good, that's awesome.
There's another company, Mitsubishi, Charlottetown Mitsubishi. For every test drive that happens, they're going to donate $20 to the arena. Which
Good
is
on them.
Cool. So if they won Hockeyville, if they get their insurance claim, if obviously there have to be more money raised and some maybe federal funding or government funding.
I feel bad though, because O'Leary just won Hockeyville 2 years ago.
So it couldn't hurt their chances if
O'Leary and Tyne Valley are like 15 minutes apart.
Oh, really?
I feel bad. It's not that they don't deserve it. They probably deserve it more than anyone else in the country, but I feel bad for the rest of the country that probably has really good stories too. And it's unfortunate that Hockeyville is likely going to go back to Tyne Valley or to PEI when it was just in Renews this last year, and the year before that it was in PEI. So the rest of the country's kind of suffered while Atlantic Canada.
So it could hurt their chances.
It could hurt their chances based on that, but their story is legitimate. It's
how I'm going to think of it. I'm going to think of it as a lottery winner. Ontario, Quebec, they always win.
It's true.
It's just a thing.
Atlantic Canada doesn't. The short end of the stick all the time.
There's not enough people here, so let's go with that.
Okay, I'm down.
Okay. Do you want to talk about what you have, and then we'll finish up with mine, or do you want?
What do I have? Oh,
you wrote some stuff down after you got here. It doesn't matter.
No, you do that one.
Okay, I'll do mine. So there's some very sad news that came out. I think I read this yesterday, maybe the day before. Maybe it was yesterday. So the NCN Flames. This is a team that plays for the KJHL, which is a Keystone Junior Hockey League. It's a junior B team in Manitoba. The captain of their team was in a house fire. His name is Keith Blacksmith. So him and his girlfriend, Tyra Kirkness, were in a house fire. She ended up dying from it, and he has burns on 70% of his body.
That's significant.
So major, not cool. Major, scary.
Yeah.
There's a quote from his mom that she wrote on Facebook. I'm going to read it. She said, "I just seen him. He's in an isolated room. There's only a few of us that can actually go right inside the room covered in suits. So they have to be fully covered up to go in. His whole body, except for his head, is covered in gauze. He's going to be in an induced coma for quite some time. Because of his condition, the doctor said anything can change at any time. Right now, he's in stable condition. There is a machine helping him breathe. I'm so scared. Keep those prayers coming."
That's tough. It's amazing he's alive. If his girlfriend is died because
70% burns or 70% of your body's burnt. That's
he'll probably not play hockey.
Oh
again
no!
If he survives.
Yeah.
And, hockey is probably insignificant in his family's life at the moment, but that's tough. I'm assuming there's some fundraising and stuff going on.
There's a GoFundMe set up. Cool. I think someone has. I think last time I checked, it was around $2,800, I believe. But yeah, that's going to majorly affect that team, that area, definitely that community.
That's significant. That's he's your captain.
Yeah.
I hope that the team is able to go in and visit him and stuff. Once he's able to have more visitors and whatnot. That must be really...
hopefully things work out like she says. It could change. Anything can change at any time.
Yeah, we'll have to keep our eye on that story and give an update maybe next week.
Yeah.
That's tough. Did you find that on Facebook, you said?
That was on Facebook, yeah.
Wow. The topic that I have to discuss is two. The EIHL came out with pride jerseys to celebrate pride and stuff. And the EIHL, if you guys don't know, is the league in England, and not just England, but like the UK. So there's a team in Scotland, there's a team in England itself. There's all kinds of teams. We've talked about the EIHL lots on this channel. Logo rankings, just general updates. I'd love to go see a game over in that league sometime. But they came out with some specialty jerseys. And this league's actually really good with coming out with specialty jerseys for different events and stuff. And they came out, every team has their own pride jersey. And they're all different. Every team has a different jersey. They look pretty cool. They don't wear them just in warm-ups. They actually wear them during a couple of games. And an EIHL player has actually come out publicly as being bisexual. That's pretty significant. This is the first story in any professional hockey league that I can remember of a player coming out as bisexual or gay or whatever. Because in the NFL, I've seen it. In the MLB, I think I've seen it. I don't know about the NBA. It's never happened in the NHL, to my knowledge. I can't think of any.
I know it's people have come out after the fact.
Yeah, but nothing like.
For some reason, I'm trying to think. There's one. Maybe not though.
I don't know, but anyways, this his name's Zach Sullivan. He plays for the Manchester Storm, and he came out publicly while he played for the team, not after he was done playing. While he played, so that's the courage to do that would be unbelievable. He said he was really proud to wear the pride jersey and stuff. So. Good on the EIHL for doing that. Good on Zach for having the courage to come out. And I mean, if you haven't seen the jerseys, they're pretty cool. You should go on Twitter and check them out. I think they look really good. There's some really, really neat designs on some of them. And the NHL does some stuff for Pride as well. I think they have specialty jerseys that some teams wear during warm-ups, and they at least have shirts that
they have a program. It's just how effective it's being or not being.
And we might see that trend come over to the NHL where teams maybe wear those jerseys during an actual game, and not just warm-ups or whatever. Because the hockey has the NHL has Hockey Fights Cancer. Like the hat that I'm wearing right now is a Hockey Fights Cancer hat. They have jerseys for Hockey Fights Cancer, but they don't wear them during games. Maybe they should. I'd be okay with that. They have military jerseys and stuff. Maybe they should wear those jerseys during a game. Food for thought, something to think about, but yeah, hockey's going in the right direction for that kind of stuff. The last topic that I have is something I've been waiting like a week and a half to get you to try, and I had no intentions of actually doing this on a video, but we're going to do this on video. So
even though a lot of people are just listening.
For our audio listeners, you might want to jump over to YouTube and skip ahead to the very end of this podcast to check this out. I have a piece of peanut butter brittle. Do you know what that is?
Kind of.
You know what a score bar is?
Yep.
It's got that kind of like crunchy, sticky stuff. It's like that, but it's peanut butter. Peanut butter.
Okay, before we go any further, is this something you ended up liking or not liking?
It was a little bit too much for me, but I know that you like spicy stuff, and
it's gonna be spicy?
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
This is ghost pepper.
No.
Peanut butter brittle.
No, I don't have any drinks there, nothing.
You don't need one.
Don't need anything. It's ghost freaking pepper.
This has been wrapped up in this thing for about 2 weeks, way before I get sick. So I'm touching the outside of it, but I've not touched the inside of it. Okay. Even when I put it in this, I used the bag to put it in this. So
you did eat this?
I did eat this.
You should have ate this on camera with me.
I ate this at work.
Okay.
So I'm not going to touch it, obviously, because I'm sick, and I don't know if I'm contagious now. But
I think you getting mad at Gritty cured your cold. You haven't coughed since that.
Anyways. It's good.
Man.
It's really good, but it's a little too hot for me. And you have to put the whole thing in your mouth. Don't be a wimp.
It doesn't have any smell at all.
Just it's about the
size. Not that you can see this. It's very
smaller
small.
than a quarter. But Jason we like to try hot things. I don't know why, but we do.
I'm gonna take a picture of this and then I will put it overlapped on YouTube so that you guys can see it.
That's a good idea.
It's so small you're not gonna be able to see it. So I'll even put it right on the table so that we can get a. There we go. This is great audio for you people listening on whatever you're listening on. All right. Dink it. It's crunchy.
It's quite peanut buttery. I liked it. It's just
how can it be peanut butter and ghost pepper at the same time?
I don't know. But the heat is definitely significant. Eventually, it gets there.
I don't want to swallow because that's when it will.
Yeah, I would say chew it up as much as you can. Don't swallow any big chunks and let it sit there. And are you feeling any hotness yet?
Oh yeah, it's not too bad, but it's definitely there.
Okay,
it's like really stuck in my teeth. Oh, it's affecting my voice. Wow, it's kicked in, people.
Freaking crying. But it doesn't. Like, it's not that. It's not that odd, but it is at the same time. I don't know how to describe it.
Whew. It's very strange.
That was epic.
I can smell it. Oh.
Holy crap.
Whew. All right. Well, thanks for doing that. I appreciate it. Oh, that was some great entertainment.
Wow. I think you're going to have to close this one out.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening and watching. I really appreciate that. Sorry for not uploading too many videos on the channel or the second channel this week. There's really only the 2 videos since last Sunday, so that won't be the same this coming week. Cold is almost over now, and I have lots of videos to make. I need to talk about the new Colorado Avalanche jerseys and the LA Kings jerseys, and some other stuff as well. I want to play some more GeoGuessr on the second channel and just have fun with you guys. So subscribe to the second channel. That would be awesome. I appreciate it if you're not already. And subscribe to the main channel. Post of us too. So thanks, guys, for listening and watching. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you in the next podcast number 98, coming next weekend. Adios.